Global Transformation Astrology, GTA, with William Stickevers.
And here's the other thing too. Today, 75% probability, according to the prediction markets, that Biden will drop out of the race. Now, I did a horary, right? President drop out of the race. And one of the things I note here is that it's 29 degrees on the ascendant, meaning the matter has already been decided. So has it been decided that he won't drop out of the race? Or like, is it matter is like, we're going to drop out, but we're going to do it the right time. We got to do it a certain way. We can't announce this yet. Also, there's a number of other factors where we see Mercury on the midheaven. This is the White House. This is the presidency. This is an announcement. Mercury is about to conjunct the midheaven. So there will be an announcement. It could be a week from now. We're going to hear something. And then we see the moon in the 8th house. That represents death, by the way. The moon is the co-significator of the question, and it's also the population, the public. And what it's showing me here is that the fact that it's in the 8th house, it's the ending, it's the death, right? It's a political death, it's a physical death. I believe some people know that the president, he may only have 6 months, right? Anyone who's like very sober probably knows the president, or at least his cognitive skill set, he won't be able to even maintain his basic duties as a president, even basic things within 6 months or less. And so we look at that as well. And the moon is making a square to Saturn, and that would indicate that, again, a setback, a defeat, a decision you're forced to make. It's the only decision you can make based on the present circumstances, and that the moon is in the 8th house. It's squaring to Saturn. Time is not on your side. Time is not on your side. You're going to have to act swiftly. And also the moon squares Saturn will also connect with the president. It would mean to me that the party is ready to make the shift. There's people advising him, the people that run the party, the DNC, they're right on the midheaven. They are advising the president. They're ready to make the shift. This is the death knell to basically hand over. Will he remain president? Probably. But will he be the nominee? If this is 75%, what is this horary? If we layer the horary on top of this, I would say we're close to 85%. 85% probability. And also the ascendant is on the fiery path, right? They call it the fiery path. And that would indicate no matter what the horary states, that there's going to be a lot of trauma and drama going on. Again, it's a big prediction I'm making. I might be wrong on this, but it looks like Biden is going to drop, and we're going to hear an announcement next week. He will not stay in the race. We'll see what happens, but everything is pointing to that. And then deadlines for ballot access. This is very important because you keep hearing from the too smart to fail astrologers who don't predict anything, proclamate everything, and then they get all the speaking gigs and they get another 150,000 followers on their YouTube videos. Meanwhile, what they're saying is completely out of touch with reality, especially in regards to talking about Gavin Newsom or somebody else taking over. And I'll explain why. So it's very simple. In the 2024 presidential election, there's different laws and procedures that govern whether a candidate or a political party is entitled to appear on a voter ballot in a state. This is a decentralized process based on Article 1, Section 4 of the United States Constitution. So the laws they're established and enforced by the states, not by the federal government. And basically, Joe Biden crossed the majority delegate threshold necessary to win the Democratic nomination on March 12, 2024, making him the presumptive Democratic nominee that occurred prior to the deadline, right? So in other words, these deadlines occur sometime in June, right? So the purple states here, the date now is in July, but in late June, the deadline is passed, meaning whoever won the delegates in that state, Republican or Democrat or independent, those candidates will be the ones listed on the ballot. So if the Democratic Party were to nominate Gavin Newsom, these particular states, these purple ones, Gavin Newsom wouldn't be listed, and Trump, the Republican nominee, would win by default, unless JFK Jr., RFK Jr., I should say, unless he wins the state. So it'd really be a contest between RFK Jr. and Trump in these purple states because the deadline has passed. So the only two people on the ballot for these purple listed states where the petitioning deadline has passed is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Okay, get it? Do you get where I'm going with this? Nobody else. If one of those two names are not listed, they're not going to be in the ballot box. So now let's come down to it. So we look at the ballot access at 2024 general election. The only two Democratic Party candidates with ballot access in the battleground states are Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. If they're not the Democratic nominee in August, they won't be listed on the state ballot. So either or not the Democratic nominee, people cannot vote for them in those purple states. Wisconsin and Arizona are must-win states for the Democrats. That's right. Wisconsin is not just a must-win for Trump, but it's a must-win for Biden. If either Biden or Harris are not the Democratic nominee, they will lose Arizona and Wisconsin to Trump by default. I don't think RFK is going to win those states. So they're going to lose to Trump because people couldn't vote for them. Even if the Democrats win Pennsylvania and Michigan, but lose Arizona and Wisconsin due to lack of ballot access, they lose the election. So let's do the math. Pennsylvania and Michigan are must-win states for Biden. And let's say Nevada goes to Trump and, these other states, but Wisconsin and Arizona are must-win. So if you want to turn 260 to 270, which is required, and you want to take that 278 away, in order for the Democrats to hit 270, they have to win Wisconsin and Arizona. But they're not listed on the ballot because Gavin Newsom is the nominee. They lose. And the Democrat strategists know this. Everybody who understands how the mechanism, how the process works, they know this. So what does that mean? What does this really mean if Joe Biden is going to step down? They have no choice but to what? Even if they hate the choice, they don't want to do this, but they have to do this. They have to nominate Queen Kamala Harris, right? She's the queen of woke. She will be the nominee. And what's interesting, if you look at the Democratic nomination, August 22nd, 2024, I have 9 p.m. That could be 9:30. Generally, between 9 and 10 is when they start speaking. But note here, on the time that she gets nomination, let's assume for the moment she gets it, right? I mean, let's assume Joe steps down based on the horror. We're making a lot of big assumptions. Or let's assume he has a medical event and it's over. Let's assume he freezes up in the middle of a campaign rally and it's over, right? Okay, it's over, Joe. That's it. Okay. She has a lunar return. She has Saturn now. She just finished up a Saturn return, crossing over ascendant in her 10th house of career. She's got Uranus right on Jupiter. So Jupiter rules her midheaven. She has a Pisces midheaven, and she's got Uranus, right? So this is extremely fortuitous. She makes an unexpected major breakthrough and leap in her career. Not because she strategized it, but because it just falls right in her lap, Uranus. And then there's also Mars, Jupiter sitting right on her ascendant. So this is where, I'm Kamala, hear me roar, right? I am the new voice. I am the new face. I am the new force. I am the new zeitgeist of the Democratic Party. I am the new face. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to take on Trump, right? I'm going to prosecute the campaign. I'm going to come off really strong. We're going to change tactics. We're going to change our approach. We're going to hit him head on. We're going to hit all that stuff. That's what we're seeing here, should she be the nominee. And look, she has the transits. Like if I looked at this and said, well, who looks like they're more likely to be president? Biden's chart or Kamala? And obviously it's her.
To watch the full presentation and more like this on geopolitics, the economy, and world events from an archetypal and mundane astrological perspective, join the Global Transformation Astrology membership. Go to gta.williamstickevers.com. Become a GTA member today.